it's fitting. I've started the women's ice hockey question, so I'll be reporting. Volleyball question, I'll be reporting
too.
too.
That is how they design it, yeah.
What creates offense?
Defense.
What creates defense?
Offense.
No, the goal in the back of the net.
So you're crazy. I like you, but you're crazy because
At least if you're going to pick a trap game, pick the right ones.
Oh, fast footwork. I know your feet don't move that fast.
Brady, that's all flash, no pass. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a goal.
What are you doing pulling out Ryan?
Brady.
Are you ready for some debate? This Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Welcome to Studio 125 for this episode of Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Josh August, and alongside me are Anthony Davila and Ava Heaton. How excited are you guys for some debate today?
I'm really hype. I think it's going to be a really good debate, Ava.
Yeah, we're friends, so I think this is going to really go well. So let's see how it goes.
Now, how about we start our debate with the men's ice hockey team. The Bobcats defeated the Boston College Eagles 4-3 in Chestnut Hill on Friday. The last time the Bobcats defeated Boston College was in the season opener of their 2022-23 season, when they went on to win the national championship. It might be a little early, but do you guys think this men's ice hockey squad has what it takes to make the Frozen Four? Ava, you start us off.
I'm going to keep my answer very short and sweet right now. Yes. I think that this team has so many similarities to the national championship team, and opening the season with a win at BC. Deja vu, anyone? I mean, the team was good last year, and they obviously had their flaws, but obviously it's a little too early to say for sure, but my only real complaint that I had with their performance at BC was special teams, which is something that's going to take time. They lost a lot of key guys last year, so to improve those special teams, they're obviously going to have to regroup as a team, and I have no doubts that that they can get there this year.
Yeah, my answer was just the same as yours. I said yes also. I said they had the same coach, so that plays a big difference into the system that Rand Pecknold uses. They've only gotten older and more experienced over the year. I said the top 5 point getters last year, they retained 4 of them, so that's going to be a big key factor moving forward here for the Bobcats.
I also think having the incoming CHL first years is going to bode really well for them. And you talk about the point getters last year. The first years last year who are now second years, you think of Chris Pelosi, Elliot Gronwald. They for the most part, that class has stayed intact, and they've consistently gotten better. I think it's going to bode really well for them, for guys like Pelosi and Gronwald to step into more leadership roles, and kind of, Gronwald was leading the team in blocks last season with 69, I believe, and the second place behind him was like a 20 block shot difference. So they stepped up last year, and they're only going to continue to step up this year. And they also got 2 more draft picks on the roster this season, and Ethan Wittenbach and Matthew Lansing. So it'll be interesting to see how the first years bode, but also how the first years last year, now second years bode.
How far do you think they're going to go if they make the tournament? Do you think
there's no saying? I think that they could go all the way this year, but that's a bold prediction.
I think it depends
so
on where
on.
they end up regionally, because if they end up close to home, I think they have a really good chance of making the Frozen Four. But if they don't, it's up in the air.
Less travel usually means better energy once they get to the rink. So I think
one other thing is they retained both the goalies from last year, which is also going to play a huge factor.
Yeah, of course.
Well, moving on, between the two ice hockey teams' 2025-26 rosters, there's 21 new players. Which newcomer do you think will produce the most points for either team? Davila, you take this one.
I'm going to go with Jade Babarati here. She's a first year from France. She played at Team France at the World Championships, and just in her weekend against Maine, she had 2 points in game 1 with 2 assists on the game-winning goal and the first goal. And in the second game, she had 2 goals. She scored the opening goal, and she also scored the game-winning goal there. Quinnipiac women's hockey team needs a consistent player after all the losses they took last year, and I think Jade is just going to be the answer for that.
That's a really interesting take. I went with the other team, and I went with maybe a little bit of a hot take. I went with defenseman Graham Sword. I think that he really slows the game down to his pace, and we saw that against Boston College when he scored that goal. He was constantly, whenever BC would kind of pick up the pace a little bit, he brought it back down and really handled the pressure well. His last season in the WHL, he recorded 81 points in 66 games as a defenseman. 66 assists in 66 games. That's crazy to me. And I also think that with the issues that they've had with special teams, obviously it's early in the season, but I think that Graham Sword could end up really manning that power play unit very, very soon. And he already has professional experience. He played in the ECHL. He has a game or 2 in the AHL under his belt. So I think having that professional experience and being 22 years old, he brings in an older presence on such a young Bobcats defense.
I think you could have went with a couple other people on the roster. You could have went with forwards because we're talking most impactful here, and you went with the defenseman, which obviously it's a good answers too. But I think you could have went with Matthew Lansing or Ethan Winbach also because they're just forwards and they're going to make more of an impact points wise. But your answer is pretty good.
I understand that take, and I honestly, obviously, I thought about it a little bit. Wittenbach was almost my answer, but I think Graham Sword, having that professional experience, he's proved himself in other leagues already, and I know that Wittenbach and Lansing have proved themselves as well, but having more of that experience, more years playing hockey under their belt, obviously, because Graham Sword is an older guy, I think that that's going to help him, and again, I think that I was really impressed with his stats in the WHL, and then I think that he really, like I said, I think he slows the game down to his pace, and that's something that's really going to help the Bobcats.
Jod also has a lot of experience, and she has a lot of time playing overseas also in France, and she's put up the points so far in the games.
That's true.
I think it's going to be able to, and she's second lining. She scored a goal in the Women's Worlds against Team Sweden, which is huge, and she's putting up points so far, as she has 4 points in 3 games played. So she's a point per game so far, and that's just going to be very beneficial to the women's team who lost a lot of players.
I mean, to be fair, technically Graham Sword is also a point per game right now because their second game was an exhibition game against Providence. So technically, smaller sample size with the men's ice hockey team, but Graham Sword is also a point per game right now.
But that's in a one-game sample. You can't...
That was some great debate, guys, but we have to head to our first commercial break. When we return, our analysts will be picking out their top Quinnipiac athletes of the last decade. Stay tuned.
No, I'm not gambling.
Live from the Piazza, it's Quinnipiac tonight!
Buckle up!
Nobody is more prepared for an emergency than Dogman.
With all your kung fu skills and your canine fortitude or whatnot.
But for the rest of us, a good plan goes a long way.
Come on, let's go!
So, whether it's an unexpected disaster or the world's most evilest cat bent on destroying all do-gooders,
Destroy all do-gooders!
you can help your family be ready for anything.
No time to waste. Will you get out of here?
Get started today at ready.gov/kids.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. With many athletics programs celebrating their 50th anniversary, we've decided to take a look back at some of the top athletes that have played for Quinnipiac over the last decade. Both Ava and Anthony will reveal their Mount Rushmore of Quinnipiac athletes since 2015. Ava, why don't you start us off with your first athlete of the decade?
I mean, I'm going to go with the obvious answer first. Alona Marr is perhaps the most notable Bobcats alum. She won a bronze medal in the Olympics, and I don't know if anyone knew, she just got a Barbie. And to me, if you get a Barbie, that means you've made it in life. So, I mean, Alona Marr, she's the easy pick, but she had to be on the Mount Rushmore.
You know, I don't think your argument did her enough justice. When she transferred into Quinnipiac, she won 3 NIRA championships in a row, consecutively. So I totally agree with that pick. She also won the M.A. Sorensen Player of the Year in 2017. 2-time NIRA All-American selections for her. And she won the 2020-25 ESPYs.
ESPY breakthrough athlete, right?
Yep. So
she's just incredible. And I mean, she really put Quinnipiac on a lot of people's radar during the Olympics last year.
Yeah, when talking about athletes, you know, her Instagram following and just her entire profile is just absolutely inspirational for all people in Quinnipiac, and it inspires people and young athletes now today to be like her.
Yeah, I think she's also been very inspirational for women specifically. You know, she went on Dancing with the Stars last season and went to the finale, and she kind of talked about how her impact as a woman has, and how that she wants to inspire young girls, and I think that that's really great, and I think that she is the most notable Bobcat.
Mara is a great choice from both of you, but let's hear your second athlete, Anthony.
With my second athlete, I went with Ethan DeYoung. He has the most games played in Quinnipiac hockey history. He's a two-time assistant captain, and he won the national championship as the assistant captain on that team. He has the 10th most points in program history. If we're going to go by D1 standards, he has the 6th most points. He has the 8th most assists in D1 history, and he has the 6th most goals.
I really like that pick. I wasn't expecting that one, but I went with my men's hockey player on this Mount Rushmore is Devon Taves. I mean, Stanley Cup champion for the Colorado Avalanche, the only Bobcat to win the Stanley Cup. And in his 3 seasons at Quinnipiac, he registered 55 points as a defenseman. And his time at Quinnipiac isn't the only reason that I have him on my Mount Rushmore. He very publicly has embraced his time as a Bobcat. He's done community work, and this led to him winning the Young Alumni Leadership Award. He's spoken about how proud he is to be how proud he is to have been a Bobcat and his impact on this organization. Again, another guy who kind of put Quinnipiac on people's radars when he won the Stanley Cup. And I think that it can't be understated how important he was to this team.
I think when talking about top Quinnipiac athletes, you can't go with someone who's only played 3 years here at the school and then went on to the pro level. I think you got to go more towards someone who's been here for a long time and has the most games in Quinnipiac history.
I understand that perspective, but I do think Devon Taves was still very crucial to the team when he was here, because you think about that, and I think that just because he was only here for 3 seasons, you can't understate his impact.
Tough call with men's ice hockey, but let's reveal your third selection, Ava.
So I went a little bit more obscure for this one. I went with a women's basketball player, Mackenzie DeWeese. So she was just an impact player on and off the court, just a true leader. She had 5 seasons in Hampton. I know you're worried about how many years they've played here. Her junior and senior year, she averaged 12.5 and 13.8 points per game respectively. And in 3 of her 5 years, she was top 5 in average points per game. And she actually led the team her senior year, 2021-2022. And I think she's not on the top of a lot of people's minds when it comes to something like this, but her impact also cannot be understated.
Yeah, I am really big on people who have played here for a long time. So for my selection, I went with Matt Blanc. He's been here for 5 years here at Quinnipiac. Second all-time in career points. 8 off of beating the all-time scoring record. 4th most field goals made in program history. He's the MAC Player of the Year from 2023 to 2024. He made the first All-MAC team in 2023 to 2024 also, and he made the second team from 2021 to 2022. And he's he played a pivotal role in putting Quinnipiac basketball on the map.
Yeah, I really like that pick too. Honestly, if I didn't go with Mackenzie DeWeese here, Matt Blanc was going to be my pick. So I can't hate on that pick too much.
He also won an NABC All-District First Team, and he averaged 17.9 points in his senior year. So he's just been amazing his entire career at Quinnipiac. In the St. Peter's game, he played a heck of a game out there. Just absolutely phenomenal. He hit the game-tying 3. Of course, that didn't go in their favor at the end, but he just played such a pivotal role in putting Quinnipiac on the map for future people to come.
Yeah.
He was such a clutch shooter.
I'm all about the vibes guys too. I think that yes, he was a great player, but he also had that leadership aspect similar to Mackenzie DeWeese. So I think we can agree on that side.
Yeah, definitely. He was a vibes guy because he put Quinnipiac on the map, and he could have transferred somewhere else, but he didn't decide to. He stuck with the Bobcats.
All right, Anthony, who completes your Mount Rushmore from the last decade of Quinnipiac athletes?
I'm going to go with Sadie Peart here. She was 2nd in program history with points with 124, 2nd with goals 64, 7th in assists with 60, and she was 3rd in game-winning goals with 17, which matters a lot when talking about most beneficial Bobcats, as game-winning goals matter, and you need to win to be a beneficial person.
I really like that pick, actually. I went with a different women's hockey player. I went with a more recent pick, Kendall Cooper. 116 points across her 158 games as a Bobcat. She was also the first Bobcat drafted in the PWHL first round, and defenders are still talking about her impact. Last weekend, Ainsley DeTavio said that last season when she and other then first years didn't know really what to expect or how playing on the Bobcats was going to go, they had Kendall Cooper to lead. And her leadership qualities cannot be understated, and I think that her impact is really crucial, and we're still seeing it on the women's ice hockey team now.
For someone who wasn't big on a lot of years played, she spent 5 seasons
I know.
here, so she's been here for a while. Something I just want to touch back on is when Sadie Peart was here, she went to 2 NCAA playoff appearances under Peart, the whole team as a whole. And once she left, Kendall Cooper's team, after she took over and got captaincy, was not able to do that. So I'm going to have to disagree with you, and I'm just going to have to go and say Sadie Peart was the more beneficial Bobcat of that era for Quinnipiac women's hockey.
I mean, we can agree to disagree, but shout out Sadie Peart. Now she's working for the Bobcats once again.
She's now back as the director
she's
of
back in Hamden,
operations.
so
Yeah.
it's good to see that. But I think we can agree to disagree
We both
on that one.
picked really good leaders here for Quinnipiac's hockey,
I
as they
agree.
both had C's in their last year being here.
Well, guys, that was a lot of great former Quinnipiac athletes. But for now, we'll have to take a break before heading back to the debate. When we come back, QBSN will be showing off the top 5 calls from last week, and we'll be discussing the volleyball team's recent loss. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you're just tuning in, I'm Josh August, joined by Ava Heaton and Anthony Davila. Before we start the debate back up, QBSN is here to present their top calls from all the games over the last week.
Bobcats are moving into offense so quickly in this game. Into the box, Andrews coming out of nowhere. Kristen's daughter lost control of it, and Molly Andrews scoops up the mistake.
Has it. Bobcats try to regroup. Some sloppy passing in the neutral zone by both squads. Fortunate Worth teams. Now a chance here. Extended 2-on-1. Wenbach across. Lansing shot. He scores! A beautiful goal by Matthew Lansing, beating Jan Korek, and the Bobcats lead 2-1.
Bronco looking for the cross into the box. Up front, the shot, and she scores! Wide open, left alone is Corey Anderson. Melina Bronco with a nice find from the edge of the box.
Michaela Watson with a nice move. She enters back towards the blue line as the Bobcats get back in the zone quickly. Watson looking for a pass in the middle. The shot save made it. Oh no, they score! LaMarsha's shot in the back of the net, and the Bobcats are on the board. It's 1-0 Quinnipiac.
Jelvik again. All the way across. Gustafson couldn't handle it. Vidicek going the other way. 3-on-2 for the Bobcats. They'll slow up. Wilmer and Serbo now going 2-on-3. Wilmer a shot. He scores! Jeremy Wilmer gets the Bobcats on the board early. It's 1-0 Quinnipiac. 10:35 left in the first.
Jeremy Wilmer, a man who knows the Boston College.
The volleyball team lost to the Niagara Purple Eagles 3-1 on Saturday for the first time since 2019. After the loss, head coach Kyle Robinson said, quote, "Numbers don't lie, and it shows a lot of holes in our team offensively and defensively. It was an embarrassment for our program. I think it's an embarrassment for the university, and I think our fans deserve better," end quote. What do you guys think the volleyball team can do to maintain contender status in the MAC?
I think it's going to be a really simple answer here. You need to limit your errors, and you can't dig yourself into a hole here. In volleyball's 11 losses, they've won the first set 7 times, and ended up losing those 7 games evidently. Let's do a little trivia. In their last 5 losses, how many errors do you think that they had?
Well, I know they had a lot. I know they had 35 attack errors against Niagara.
Correct.
And I believe they had way less the day before against Canisius. So I don't know.
It's an abysmal number regardless. It's 27.8 errors on average in loss. So that's just really bad for them. I'm really curious to see what you said here, though.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with you 100%. Eliminate attack errors, 35 attack errors against Niagara, and Niagara only had 13, so that just can't happen. And we talked to Kyle Robinson after the game, and he had maybe one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard from a coach. He said, I always say to them, you have 10 grand in your pocket you can give me, and if you're not going to give me free money, why would you give free points away to your opponent who showed up at your home ready to kick you in the face?
Yeah, overall, I think it was just a really bad game from the Bobcats. Yeah. I mean, they won the first set, which is what we've seen them do in all of their losses. So something they can do is just not make those simple errors like they've made in the past when attacking. All their attacks just go right out of bounds, and it's just really not a beneficial thing to do.
An interesting stat to look at, when they played Fairfield this season, they had 23 attack errors, which is still not great. The Stags had 16. And the Niagara game was obviously an anomaly, the attack errors wise, and 23 is still a lot. This was something they worked on last year, and they clearly need to work on it again because they're fighting for that top spot with Fairfield at the end of the day. They want to be those contenders for the MAC favorites. Well, do you think that they're contenders still?
I think that they can be contenders still because they dug themselves in this hole early last year, and they were able to climb out of it, and they still made the playoffs for the MAC, and that's just something that they will have to work on over time, and it will come over time.
That's true. I think Kyle Robinson can lead this team out of the hole they've kind of dug themselves into.
They've done it before. They can do it again.
Yep.
For our last question of the night, let's talk about the field hockey team. The Bobcats are currently 6-5 in the regular season, but 0-3 in conference play. They have also yet to score a goal in these 3 conference matchups. Francisco Escoyas leads the team with 9 goals on the year, but the team is still looking for more depth in their offense. Who do you guys think the Bobcats should look for towards production?
I'm going to go very simple here. Rosemary Van Koolen. You know, Escoyas has 25 points right now, and besides her, Rosemary Van Koolen is second on the team with 11. She has 4 goals, and she's only played in 6 games so far. She didn't really play a lot to start the season, but they kind of realized what they had with her. And with more playing time, she could produce a lot more, and she could contribute a lot more. And she's just an aggressive player. She works well with Francisca Escoyas. So I think that she has to be who you look for.
I'm going to have to agree with you here. Just like you said, second in goals, she reads the field really well with Francisca Escoyas, and they're a really good pair. So in order for them to step up, she's going to have to be the leader with Escoyas here. She worked really well with Francisca Escoyas, like I said. She's the most blend-in midfielder, but she stands out the most also.
Yeah. I think another person I kind of thought of was Mo Quayle, who is second in goals. I think that she could also be someone to look for. But, I mean, to me, Rosemary Van Koolen was the easy answer, being second on the team in points and having a smaller sample size than some of the other girls on the team. So I definitely think that Van Koolen is a good person.
What is your reasoning behind Mo Quayle?
I just think that she's kind of similar to Van Koolen. She has that aggressiveness, and she also she's second on the team in goals. I know Van Koolen's second in points, but I think that if you're going to look for other people other than Escoyas, that Mo Quayle is a good person to look at.
I think Van Koolen's very well at playing because she opens up the offense. She's very good at holding the ball and making the plays that she needs to make. I think that obviously Francisca Escoyas has to be the person to get it started also, going back to that. But Rosemary Van Koolen will step up eventually. She just needs a little bit more time to mature as a first year and get that done.
At the end of the day, Francisca Escoyas cannot do it all herself, and she does need the help, and I think we agree. So we agree that Van Koolen has to be the person they look to.
They will be able to benefit off of each other in the long run with
100%.
McQuillan.
Do you guys think that the Bobcats can still be contenders in the Big East despite their recent struggles in conference play?
Honestly, No. I know that they started the season off strong against non-conference teams, but I don't know. I just don't see it being sustainable at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I don't think Francisca Escoyes is going to be able to hold up the offense like we talked about. Someone's going to need to step up, and I don't know if I can definitely see that happening.
I can't put that much confidence in this team right now.
Unfortunately, that is all the debate we have for you guys tonight, but stick around for our roars after this break.
Have you ever helped a fellow veteran?
Of course.
Yes. Have you ever asked for help yourself?
It's always tough, right? I always feel like I can solve my own problems, but eventually, you just can't deal with it on your own. And you start to question, maybe people would be better off without me. When you realize that you're not alone, once you take that first step, there's so much support.
Everyone has a ritual. That small thing we do to keep us focused.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game?
To drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health.
Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Find the resources you need to keep your mental health a priority.
Love your mind.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. It's time for our final roars. I'll start us off. It's crazy how much a few months can change things. 2 months into college, I've experienced a lot of new emotions and opportunities. The opportunity to be on TV with student media is incredible, but exploring new emotions such as homesickness and the challenge of building a new circle of friends after leaving the ones I've known my whole life can be difficult. With all that change going on in my life, tennis has been something I can always rely on. From playing all 4 years at Shaker High School to making the club team here in my first semester at Quinnipiac, tennis has taught me that picking up something new may be scary, but it can also present opportunities you didn't think were possible. From getting a summer job as a tennis camp supervisor to always hitting with my dad who taught me the game, to playing with my sister and meeting so many great friends and coaches, it has helped me remember what my passion is, sports, and the chance to broadcast games and hopefully make it my profession. Tennis has taught me more about myself than any person ever has, and the realization to chase my passion relentlessly is why I chose this school. Tennis has taught me discipline, how to push through frustration and celebrate small victories. My first semester here at Quinnipiac has allowed me to garner opportunities such as interviewing the Yankees radio play-by-play announcer Dave Sims and calling my first broadcasting game on ESPN+. We all feel pressure, but always remember that pressure is a privilege, and it's why we constantly create our own opportunities and chase greatness.
As a first year, I found my role as a men's ice hockey beat reporter daunting. I was nervous about fitting in with people who had done this before. But then I got the opportunity to cover the ECAC semifinals in Lake Placid and the NCAA tournament in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Traveling with my fellow beat reporters, who honestly feel more like friends, to these games gave me memories for life, and I'm so glad I took advantage of those opportunities, even if I was nervous. Now I'm in my second year as a beat reporter, and last weekend I had the opportunity to travel to Boston College for the Bobcats season opener against the Eagles, another trip that was filled with fun and memories. While I no longer worry about my experience, there's now a new pressure to be a role model and give the first years someone to look up to, as so many did for me last year and continue to do. The best part about student media is that everyone, no matter their year, is still learning from each other. Every trip I go on, I feel like I'm learning something new. As I look at the first years, the best advice I can give them is to soak up every opportunity that comes their way, as scary as it may seem. Student media helps people grow both personally and professionally. The best way to put yourself in a position to succeed is just say yes.
The men's ice hockey team took a trip up to Conti Forum past weekend, starting their season with a matchup against a top 10 opponent in Boston College. Quinnipiac won the game with a final score of 4-3. October 7th, 2022 was the last time that the Quinnipiac men's ice hockey team defeated Boston College in their season opener in the chaos of Conti. That team would go on to have a record of 34-4-3 and go 20-2 in conference play and win a national championship. It was all kickstarted by their season opening win against Boston College. This was a special year for Quinnipiac hockey. Winning a national championship is a hard thing to do, let alone your first in NCAA championship in school history. So here we are again. The Bobcats staked their claim early, walking out of Boston College with a win to start their season like they did on October 7th, a night that sparked one of the greatest seasons in program history. History has a funny way of echoing itself, and with the win over BC, there's a sense of deja vu in the air. If the 2022 season was a prologue in Quinnipiac's hockey history book, then it is time to write chapter 1, starting now.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for Bobcat Breakdown this week. Thank you for tuning in and spending your Tuesday night with us. And thank you to all the producers and everyone working hard behind the scenes. To stay up to date on Quinnipiac sports, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and X at Q30 Sports, and check out our website at q30tv.com. For Anthony Davila and Ava Heaton, I'm Josh August. Have a wonderful night, Bobcats.